Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. I want to consider the approval of the minutes for the July 12, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and take any action necessary. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the July 12th meeting?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 3, we're going to hold a public hearing to consider the request of Jay Sean, is that how you pronounce it? Applicant owner for zoning change from future development district general retail and neighborhood service to general retail on 11.01 acre tract of land situated in the Alexander Neville survey. Abstract number 409, Titus County, Texas, and being all that contain certain called 0.35 acre tract of land described as tract 1, all of that certain tract of certain called 2.97 acre tract of land described as tract 2, and all of the certain called 7.69 acre tract of land described as tract 3 conveyed by RB Capital Ltd. to Impact BDS Properties LLC by warranty deed with vendor's lien as recorded in file number 2021-2541 public records of Titus County, Texas, and generally located on the east side of Green Hill Road and north of County Road 1605, Neville's Road, and take any next action as necessary.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, tonight we have a request from Jay Sin, as you stated. He's requesting the zoning change from GR General or to GR General Retail. As we stated, there were parts of this property. I can slide over to the zoning map. Maybe it's not in there. Yeah, there. Oh. Okay. Parts of this property, this is the existing zoning map. Initially, the property, some of the property, a couple of tracts Mr. Zinn owns as also is zoned currently. This is neighborhood service. The part of the tract goes up when you look at the map. He has a piece of the property. One of the tracts is up here, which is already in general retail, and there's a very small portion of it down in this area that we call as future development, and just a very small tract. That encompasses all of his property, and that's the reason we had to call out general retail also, because of the nature of the tract. When we look back at the map, you can kind of see where that's happening at. This portion up here is in the general retail area. This portion's in the neighborhood service area, and this smaller section is in that future development tract out in this area. The Mount Pleasant Animal Clinic and Resort, he wants to relocate his existing facility, which is currently located at 1901 West Ferguson Road, to this new location. The business offers small animal pets services, including veterinarian, boarding, grooming, and daycare. And the applicant stated in his letter of intent that the facility has been designed to minimize pet interaction when appropriate, as well as to minimize the number of animals outside of the facility in order to reduce any potential noise issues that may occur. Overnight, the pets are boarded inside the facility. The facility itself has been designed using materials and floor plans specifically purposed for noise reduction and cleanliness, and their normal operating hours will be 5:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the evening. No pets will be kept outside of the facility overnight, and the applicant has stated that he anticipates minimal noise during the overnight and minimal noise during the normal operation hours. The applicant also states that currently there have been really no complaints received from the city either in regard to the operations at its current location. Just to reference the comprehensive plan that we just adopted, 2050 comprehensive plan, this designates this area as community retail, and community retail is development is characterized by small freestanding buildings containing one or more businesses. Community retail primarily provides services for the surrounding neighborhood and the city Business types may include restaurants, local retail, medical offices, banks, and other retail service operations for the neighborhood. The applicant's proposed use, the staff appears to be compatible with the recommendations of the land use plan. So we're not really affecting the land use plan with this type of use because it falls into those sort of neighborhood retail services and services provided, such as medical, veterinarian services to be provided in this community retail designation. So with that, the applicant is already zoned neighborhood service, but to be able to allow for this particular use, it is allowed in the general retail district, and that's his intent to do that. We also included a sort of a site plan, describes the property, and you've got some details of the building in your packet. I also think that the applicant's architect is here to address you, maybe further address some details you may have. But this is a public hearing, and I'll be glad to answer any questions of staff that you have.
Robert, could you, on this map, show me where you said that there was that small buffer again? Is it just that small little?
Excuse me, that's inclusive of all the property stated in the legal description that he's currently trying to zone. Even though this portion is already zoned properly, because of the legal description, we had to just call it out that way.
Any more questions? Any questions?
How far is that property from that actual house? How wide are those lots down below there? Is there 50-foot lots? I'm just trying to figure out how many.
No, those are larger than 50-foot lots there. I'm thinking they're maybe as much as well over 100 feet, some of those running through here. They may get that lot. No, I still think those lots are probably 80 to 90 feet wide or longer.
So you'd say it's 500 feet from property line to that house?
From this house right here? Yeah, easily. That's close. I would say 400 feet at 400 to 500 feet from there.
Where would the building go on the property?
And we've got a schematic in there. Also, the applicant's architect is here to give you more detail about that, if you'd like to hear that. PowerPoint, she may have a better schematic of that. If you'd like to open the public hearing, and we can hear from the audience.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing.
I'm Jordan Godwin. I'm with Godwin Design Architects, and we're the architects that's been working with the Sins to develop this plan. And I don't mind going through any of the specifics that y'all have, but since y'all are having specific questions about the distance of the proposed buildings to property lines and adjacent buildings, I have that. If you could go to the slide where we have the site plan with the Google image behind it, please. So you could see on the previous one, where currently what they are proposing to develop, they do have the ability to do future expansions, but that's just if things went extraordinarily well for them. But you can see that there's a dash line right here, and my hand is shaking really bad. So from here to the dance studio, which this is future expansion, but from that point there, you're approximately 140 feet away from the dance studio. And then the closest residence that's right here to the building itself, that is 220 feet approximately. And this is based on Google's distance measurement. And then from, if the boarding facility was expanded this direction, here to this property line is 54 feet. And then if you do it from the closest building that's planned to be built at this time, which is the vet facility, to this property line, that would be 228 feet. Was there any other specific architectural or site-related questions that you'd like me to address?
For the main structure, I mean, is it, to, like, buffer sound overnight? What is the structure?
Certainly. So can we go back to the beginning to the floor plan layout? One more back, please. So this is the overall structure, and we have it color-coded for you to basically understand the general layout of the facility. The central portion that's here in blue is what we call the core, and inside that, the beginning portion of it is retail, and then the central portion here is the grooming area, and then this portion back here is the staff area, so a staff break room, restroom facilities, and this is where the dogs that are being waiting to be groomed or have already been groomed, that their kennels are inside here. There's a walk yard for them as well. This orange portion on this side is the Doggy Daycare facility. Part of the design that cuts down on noise mitigation is that the dogs are separated by size, and there's a small dog daycare and there's a large dog daycare. And so this side is the small dog and this is the large dog, and their walk yards make it to where they cannot see one another and have the alpha dog barking syndrome back and forth. And so the central area right here is for indoor play, and there would only be one at a time that would be happening inside that portion. And so part of the design was specifically to cut down on noise so that the two dog size groups were not seeing each other and barking at each other all day. And then on this side over here, the maroon portion, that is the vet area. This walk yard is just for people that are there waiting with their dog if they needed to go out and take them to the restroom. And again, this walk yard here is for dogs that are being groomed to be able to go out to go to the restroom, and then dogs that are having surgery to be able to go out and go to the restroom as well. So they would just be in there very short periods of time. The back purple portion is the boarding facility, and these are walk yards. I'll have it more blown up in a moment so you can see it better, but there are areas that you see where the sidewalk, and there's a distance between the sidewalk and the walk yard, and that's purposeful. And so where there's not a building separating dogs from seeing each other, there would be vegetation separating the dogs. So again, that helps dogs not want to bark while they're outside because they're seeing other dogs to bark at. And so if you can go to the next slide, please. This allows you to see it a little bit better. Again, the separation of the large dog and small dogs for their playground areas for the daycare facility. And then there's not very many outdoor areas really for dogs in the main portion of the building. That's mainly in the boarding facility, which is the next slide, please. In the boarding facility, you can see there are the luxury suites over here where individual dogs or family dogs, if there's multiple dogs in a family, could have an individual kennel, and then this traditional runs are on this side. Within each of these rooms, there is the walk yards for them, and this walk yard is separated by a CMU wall. That's for health purposes as well as for noise purposes to allow them to not see one another and want to bark. But dogs are walked by the staff into these walk yards to allow some time outside whenever they're being boarded. But as was stated earlier, during their hours during the day, so they're not being kept outside in these runs in the evenings at nighttime. This is happening during the day. This on the back side, again, there's CMU dividers between them to, again, make it to where dogs are not having as much visual access to other dogs to cut down on noise. The facility itself, as mentioned in the applicant's application, we are planning on, depending on material prices, there's two different options that we've discussed with going with materials as far as the construction, either doing a solid block out of CMU to cut down on noise or doing a staggered stud installation. Both of those are great methods for cutting down on sound attenuation from the building to the outside and from room to room. Because as much as everyone doesn't want to hear dogs in their house, the staff and the people visiting this don't want to hear dogs all the time either. And so noise mitigation was definitely a strong consideration throughout the design process that the SINs stressed throughout the process. So there have been numerous steps taken to ensure that it's comfortable noise levels for everyone involved. The site, I guess I'll talk about the site as well. Could you go to the site plan, please? And the next one. Oh. So there is plenty of parking, as if you are a client of them, which I have used their services. They're one of the biggest hurdles to get past is getting into the facility to drop off or to pick up your pet. And so we have plenty of parking spaces in the front, a drop-off area for the daycare, as well as plenty of staff parking in the back facility here, and then gaining them access to the storage building that they've also purchased on the facility itself. The property allowed for you to really place this in so many different locations, but we chose to address both the Green Hill and Neville's Road, and it sits facing the corner there. To give good visibility to both and not want to turn our backs, if you will, to either of the roads. If you want to go to the next slide, we have some renderings here. There wasn't any restrictions of how we could address the building from an aesthetic standpoint, but the SINs wanted to make a facility that they were proud of and to add to the community and to the neighborhood setting and not throw up a metal building, if you will. And so you can see this rendering. It's going to have a lot of stone on it, as well as lap siding. It has a very cool entry features into the daycare facility and into the vet that includes a truss, a lot of wayfinding items like signage, the entryway into the main boutique space. But I guess the main point I wanted to bring up is that they wanted this to be a facility that lasted a long time, and it was an investment to them and to their future of their business. And you can click through the slides if you'd like, but they continued the aesthetic all the way around the facility. But every part of the design addresses the safety of the dogs and ensuring that the fences and how those are constructed and how far they go up and how far they go under the ground to prevent digging out and things like that. Also, the size of the back boarding facility does not require someone to actually have a fire suppression system due to its size, but that's something that they plan to incorporate into it just for the safety of the dogs. So there's just a lot of steps that they're taking to be proactive for the safety of their animals, as well as to make their clients feel comfortable with the services that they're providing. So that's the basic gist. If there's any other specific questions or concerns, I'm happy to answer them.
Any more questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would have a question for Jay. I think he would be the one to answer this. How many dogs at any one time would you expect to have outside, and what time of day will they be going inside?
So during the day, during operating hours, we would potentially have somewhere between 25 and 45 dogs in daycare spread out across 3 different daycare yards, one of those yards being inside. As far as walking the boarding dogs during the day during operating procedures, we have actually designed and started implementing new walk procedures at our facility now that are going to transfer to the new ones that include a rotational schedule that keeps us from having a dog in every exterior yard at any given time. Our goal is to have an empty yard between actual dogs, even from the same divided walk section, to decrease the amount of barking. You know, they see each other through the fence, barking, stuff like that. So at any given time during a boarding walk, I would say around 12 dogs spread across over 16 yards.
Okay, thank you. Oh, what time will they go in?
Facility closes at 6 p.m. So at 6 p.m., all the daycare's done. No more daycare dogs. We'll continue a walk rotation as late as 8:30, 8:45 as typical, and we continue that same rotation where we don't just fill up every yard. It's a rotation that keeps them spaced out, that keeps them on a rotation, so they're not interacting with each other through the fence.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a comment or a question they want to ask? Nobody else wants to speak? We'll close the hearing. Okay.
I'll turn.
Yeah, if you'll hold it down and just give us your name.
I'll do it. My name is Mark Green. I have a business here in town. Don't know just a ton of folks. We've been here for 13 years now, and going on 14 actually. And I own 38 around acres. They're out there, built a home there, and we are very concerned. I mean, I hear the word bark mentioned up here a lot tonight, okay? And, you know, there's that's a residential setting right now out there to some degree. I mean, I know we have a feed store that's open from 8 to 5 or 4, something like that. And we're concerned about what it'll do to our property value, guys, okay? I mean, you seen the picture that was up there a while ago, all those boarding kennels out there. I'm concerned about that. And you guys are talking about putting this right behind those houses at the country club. I mean, you know, not very far there, okay? Another thing I want to point out, you know, property, some property just sold just recently out at, Mr. Goolsby lives out by the water tower, I'm sorry. And some property just sold out there. They cut it up into 5-acre lots. Lasted, man, I tried to buy some actually, and I didn't get there quick enough. Sold for $20,000 an acre, okay? Sold in 5 days, I think it was, okay? What do you guys think that does to our property by putting a facility like this there? We're concerned about that. I had a phone call a year ago, maybe more, and someone called me from the city, and they asked me to come to one of these hearings that, the guy that owns, the storage boxes out there, Mr. Lee, Brian Lee, they said he wanted to build some more, storage facilities, but he had to have some type of rezoning in order to be able to do it. I don't know why, but he already had some, but anyway, and, I told him over the phone, I said, hey, guys, we like storage boxes, storage facilities. You know, we have no problem with that. But this is a total different animal, you know. There's houses that are right beside this. And, you know, I don't live in the country club, but, I have probably, I would guess 1,200 feet of, boarding property that's gonna border this. And, I have a daughter that just moved back here from Little Rock, Arkansas, was talking about building her house over there. That kills it, guys, okay? That kills it. I have a few notes here, nothing in order. But when we bought that property, we were very interested, to say the least, about that property there. And we did check into how it was zoned. And, it's kindly a buffer. If you'll notice on the illustration, it went right behind all of those businesses. And, most of them, I'm sorry, I wouldn't say all, but it was kindly a buffer that was on neighborhood services. So we felt pretty good about that. And we have since then, invested a lot of money there. And we are concerned about our property values. We're also concerned about, any of that other property that we change, you know, those guys, could, you know, in the future, it could be sold off to some of those existing businesses there, and they could back who knows what up against us also, where we've also had the buffer before. Also, I want to make a question. You don't have, I'm not expecting an answer now, but I know in the general retail, it mentions stuff about it does allow a veterinarian hospital. Doesn't say anything about a boarding kennel, but it does allow that. But it also has in parentheses, if you'll look on the city planning plat, it has in parentheses soundproof kennels. Okay, to me that means what it says, soundproof kennels. You know, I don't even know that it was even meant for it to be an outside boarding type facility in that. But I noticed that today as I was reading, but it mentions soundproof kennels. And I'm sure I've left a lot of stuff off that I wanted to say, but like I said, I'm not a great speaker, but we know enough that these are good folks that are wanting to do this. We know that. We've heard around town that nothing but good folks, you know, and no disrespect to those guys at all, but we're very concerned about. And I also think you're going to hear people are not great about coming to meetings, guys, but what do you think's going to happen when you approve this and you see all those fences and they're got to have dogs in them throughout the day and on the weekend? And you know what comes with dogs? We're dog people. Barking comes with dogs. And that's exactly what's been mentioned up here all night long. I respect the lady that drew up the plans. She did a great job, but she's never ran a kennel, I don't believe. And she was telling us how it's going to reduce the barking, you know. That many kennels, that many pens, we're concerned. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to speak?
So my name is Daniel Acosta. I live in 132 Neville's Road, which is really close to where the clinic is at. And we just moved here like 2 years ago. Thank you, Nikki. And we just, I like the environment there. It's quiet, there's peace, and there's not very much cars or going around there. And my opinion, I really didn't want to move to Mount Pleasant because I'm from Pittsburgh. So this is like first time coming out here, living out here. And I like Pittsburgh because it's quiet, it's calm, there's not a lot of traffic over there. And I told my wife I'll go over here to Mount Pleasant, but somewhere where it's gonna be quiet, somewhere out there at the outskirts of the town, which right now that's how I like it. there's not a lot of commotion going on, and I feel once you bring the clinic over here, it's gonna be a lot more cars, and plus, yeah, the animals. I mean, we like animals. We got a cat, but it's not much noise and not a lot of barking. And also, I don't know I don't know how that is about the rezoning that has all the area, right? Did they buy the whole area that's getting rezoned, or I don't know. That's a
Robert, you
question
want
for
to answer
them.
this question?
That indicates a survey, and that's a legal description. This is the area they own. They own this entire area, which was basically 3 tracts of land. There's a tract of land here, there's a separate tract here, there's a separate tract here, but the owner owns all of this property currently. Did that answer do on all of it? This currently, this area here, this was already zoned at general retail. So this actually allows the right to do what they want to do at this moment. This property here is currently zoned neighborhood service. That's part of the zoning change. And this little piece here that jutted out here is also, it's called future development. It's really kind of an unzoned area. But that is also in the zoning as one unit to bring it all into GR. This area up here is already GR over here. But that allows them to establish the kennel and other veterinary clinic there with that zoning. Does that answer your question?
Okay, now that I know that it's that area, there was just one more thing before I step off, but like it is gonna change into retail if it's approved, but it's also mentioned that it's saying they can bring a gas station, a store, or anything else of that nature. And that's another reason why I really don't want it to be rezoned, and more because of the traffic and the noise, and that's well, that's the last thing I wanted to say about that. So,
Thank you.
Mr. Costa, where do you live in relation to the facility?
you can zoom in a little. Oh, see, I think somewhere right there. I don't know if it's the 4th house or the 5th house down there. Yeah, one of those. I think it's that one right there. So I'm really close to the clinic right there too. So, and like I was saying, if they bring anything else, there's gonna be a lot of cars. So far, there's some traffic, but I feel like it will double even more, and then I don't want it to cause, the peace and quiet to go away, and that's the reason why I moved over here. So,
Is the traffic your concern, or the noise from the dogs? Or does one take a priority over the other?
it's just everything in general. Like the traffic also is gonna make all the cars, it's gonna make noise there, and the barking too. I don't want to hear animals. Like they say it's soundproof. They say it's not gonna be much noise, but it's still gonna be noise. You can't control the sound that is coming out, and so I mean it's mostly heavy on both ends, traffic and barking. So.
Just to go back to one maybe clear as the audience, I want to let everybody know that this is currently, it is zoned neighborhood service. There are retail operations and different things that can go in there currently under that zoning. So regardless of what it's zoned, if it's not rezoned or not, or no recommendation, it still has zoning that allows retail services and whatnot to go in there. So there could be a lot more incentives. It could be more than one single use. It could be multiple uses, like a small shopping area that would generate a lot of traffic on its own. 24 hours. I mean, there's a lot of other things. Plus, this possibility of this other back-ended, GR that's already got GR zoning on it. So there's other traffic generators that could be more intense than what could be put with this, particular use.
Robert, I have a question for you. If for some, I mean, if this does go through and there is a huge increase in traffic in that, on that corner coming off of Neville, do you see any more expansion on Neville's possibly expanding?
Well, I think being a single-use development, you know, in terms of traffic, and I'm not an expert on these clinics, but these clinics don't seem to be, you know, if you look, they're not going to be traffic generators like retail operation, consistent retail operations are. You know, these are more of a destination place. If you've taken a dog there and dropping it off, it's a kennel there. It's not going to create that many trips. Obviously, if it's a veterinarian clinic, it's going to operate kind of like a medical clinic where people come and go and that kind of thing. So I don't see that particular use, no. If we had a use that was more heavily retail, like it was a small shopping center, we might want to take a traffic impact analysis and take a look at how much it is generating to determine if there was any improvements that needed to be there.
My only concern was the afternoon and morning traffic with maybe drop off of animals and pick up with animals. Is it going to be the same with kids from Harts Bluff?
You know, I'm not real familiar with picking dogs up, and I mean, I'm not really familiar with doing that.
Yeah, mom taxi, it's about the same hours, so it's heavily traveled right there.
You wanna come back up? Okay.
I want to reiterate about the barking, you know. This guy sitting back here, he bought that house. I think Nikki remembers, that house was redone, remodeled. The former person who lived there had one dog, one German Shepherd. I called the city 5 times begging for help. It barked all day long. From my house, I have a little garden out in front of my little workshop, and it ran us. We had no enjoyment from the outside. Sitting on that side of our property, it barked all day long. Okay, guys, there's other property in town. We've got an industrial complex out there where the city went and put their animal shelter. That was an appropriate thing to do. Putting this thing right there in the traffic, I didn't even mention the traffic. That's very, very busy, and it's a very awkward turn in. Has anybody traveled that road? Very awkward turn in down there. Very awkward. Drop down there. I challenge you you'll see what I'm talking about. But I just want to tell you the story about the one dog. Only one dog, okay? They mentioned something around 45 dogs at some period of time, or I know they're going to walk them at different times, but guys, the one dog was uncomfortable for us in a residential setting. And you're sticking that thing behind those houses at the country club. Are you kidding me? I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I really do. You know, that one dog weren't our outside activity. We sat out at our garden and visited, and I called the city 4 or 5 times, and they even came. Okay, that was with one dog, guys, and it was in the house that he lives in. Okay, and we were talking about one dog. You see all those cages, guys, that they put up there? Do you think that's just nothing? Please think about that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion to change this to 11.01 acres to general retail?
Robert, do we have a option to step out for about 5 minutes?
Go to executive session to discuss this case. No, I don't think you can do that. we had an attorney here, they would be able to meet with you on another reason, but I'm not an attorney and I don't think that I can do that. Is there a specific procedural question you have? Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion or to change it to general retail or to make a motion to leave it where it's at?
Your options are to approve or deny. I think those are two options you have, on it.
Okay, that's what I thought I said.
I make motion, we deny it.
Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Okay, got two that says gonna deny. Do I hear anybody gonna approve?
Mr. Chairman, if you got a motion to deny and a second to deny, then you need to take a vote.
Okay, take a vote. To deny, raise your hand.
Yes. To deny.
Approve.
Deny.
Approve.
Yes.
Now remind you, this is a recommendation. It's going to go to City Council it'll be a denial.
I just want to say, I think the renderings in the building is absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. I think I think it would be so convenient. I think if a building is going to be there, I would want to look at that and go drive by that all the time as opposed to something else. I guess in my position, in my line of work, the only thing I do struggle with is selling the house that's across the street. Selling the house that, resell. I bet would be fine, but it's like the unknown. I think we're all fearful of the unknown. So I am struggling, and I've never struggled with a decision, so.
Okay, all right. We'll go to item number 4. Consider a request by Caps Properties LLC, applicant for the approval of preliminary plat of Deer Park Estates, Phase 1 and Phase 2 being approximately 32.58 acre tract of land in the Thomas McPeter Survey, abstract number 374, Titus County, Texas, and John H. Orr Survey, abstract number 423, Titus County, and being part of a called 32.5 acre tract conveyed to Caps Properties Ltd. in a deed known in instrument number 2021-2383 of the public records of Titus County, Texas, generally located east of the U.S. Highway 271, adjacent to County Road 1400, and take any next action as necessary.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a preliminary plat of this area to the north, part of this newly annexed area that we picked up just a month ago or so. This is the first preliminary plat of the area. Basically, It's an old plat that was vacated several years ago by the county, and basically they're coming back in with that plat. That's the actual land area of the original plat, but these streets are in currently. This is sort of a layout of the water and sewer that's going to go in, but this is the phase 1 part. They've actually constructed 5 homes up there now. They're waiting for water. We're in the process of doing finishing the engineering, putting it out to bid for a water line that's going to come up 271 and get to this property. But right now they want to preliminary plat the whole area, recreate what is Deer Park. Eventually, what you'll see, these are 5 lots that are plus an acre and a half, because we're going to allow them at this point with this preliminary plat to be able to hook up to septic at this time. As we bring in the other phase of this part, we anticipate we'll have a public sewer that will be up there to be able to create these smaller lots that fall into the zoning category of SF1, single family 1 residential. So tonight what you're considering basically is phase 1. Well, you're considering the preliminary plat of phase 1 and 2, and what you'll eventually get is a final plat back probably very soon, because the engineering is pretty minimal on this because the streets are in already. So what you're going to see is this come back as a final plat within probably a month or so. Once we get that water line kind of start the construction on that and get that going. So that's what we have tonight. They meet the like I said, they meet at this point. This is in future development, and they're allowed to do this particular area out here because they're keeping lots of an acre and a half, which falls into that category of low density residential. So we're fine with that. But when they come back to us on the final, before they final this area here, we'll probably institute zoning for this area and get this into SF1, and then those lots will be able to be built at that size area. So that being said, staff would recommend that you go ahead and approve this preliminary. We've got the water sewer layout, and again, it's existing streets. We do anticipate before the final on phase 2 or even phase 1, sorry, before we get the final plat back on phase 1, we will enter a development agreement for some shared costs for the water line that they're going to be running up there from the developer standpoint. So I can tell you that, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Anybody got any questions? Okay. There a motion to approve the request?
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to item number 5. Consider a request by Roberto Hasten. Oh, Monroy? No, that's Mercury. How you spell that? How you pronounce that? Merquin? Okay, applicant for the approval of a final plat of Merquin subdivision consisted of 7 single-family residential lots, being an 8.6 acre tract of land situated in the John H. Orr Survey, abstract number 423, Titus County, Texas, and being part of that certain called 24.28 acre tract of land conveyed from Luminant Mining Company, LLC, TXU Mining Company, LP, TXU Mining Company, LLC, or TXU Mining Company, and TXU Utilities Mining Company to Robert McQueen by special warranty deed with vendor's lien as recorded in file number 2020-4524, Public Records, Titus County, generally located on the south side of County Road 1317 that lies between US 271 to the west and US 271 business to the east, and take any action necessary.
Chairman and Commissioners, this is part of the annexation that we pulled in recently, and the applicant, Mr. Merquin, he owns this entire triangular shaped property here. There is a county road that crosses the property here, and it kind of bends and goes up and ties back into 271 business. His intent is to, His intent is to basically plat 7 lots. These lots, exceed the acre and a half, or the acre minimum for septic. And also create a private road easement at this point, at this time, through here. And in that easement, he's also going to, that will be a drainage easement, so we can account for, there's been some fill back in here. I think Hayes Creek kind of meanders through here and kind of cuts across, goes under the road, and then gets back through, goes across 271 into the park. But we want to account for that drainage at some point. Right now, I don't think we had a problem with that. He was actually going to the county before annexation, was going to do this plat itself. So since he has an existing road, it's existing, and he's also dedicating this road as a dedicated road into the city, then we are able to take a look at this as a final plat rather than go preliminary, because of we're not servicing this thing at the moment with water. He's getting it from Tri-Sud, and then he's going to be on septic at this point. Again, as this comes into the city, the next phase of this, going back to the other part of the property, when he comes back in to develop the rest of the property, at that point, then we will, ask, he'll have to hook on the services there from the city, and we can get from this development that's occurring here with water lines running up a right of way in an easement. We'll be able to go under the 271. He'll be able to take water here to get water service, and then we've also got a plan. We're looking at engineering plan to take the sewer. We think we know we can gravity the sewer down to what there is an existing gravity line down at this point, and through some easements that we think we can get easements down to get into that manhole down there and take some sewer line down to that point. So that's the plan for the future. So there'll be more homes developed on the north side of that triangular part of the property. But right now, this is a final plat just for those 7 lots. And again, dedicating that roadway easement and getting that drainage easement across there, and moving forward. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Anybody got any questions?
Do you know of any recorded deed restrictions yet for this area?
Not with this portion at this time for the 7 lots. And again, he's only indicated to me that at this point, and I can go back and look, he's not really sure that he's even going to build over here. I think he's going to he's speculating he's going to build 2 homes out there at this point. So he's really not tying this into, this may end up changing the configuration of this. He just needed to get started at the moment, and that's what he's doing now. So we may see deed restrictions on the rest of that on the north end of it. It may tie into this also at some point in the future.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the plat?
I'll make a motion to approve the plat.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, go to number 6. Consider request by Allen Braddock, applicant for the approval of a final plat of Braddock Addition, being a lot, tract, or parcel of land situated in the Berry Merchant Survey, abstract 358, Titus County, Texas, and being the remainder of that certain 4.17 acre tract of land called Tract 1, and the remainder of that certain land or tract called Tract 2, both conveyed from Sonia Braddock to Allen Braddock by special warranty deed, as recorded in file number 2014-2064, Public Records, Titus County, Texas. Bearings are based on NAD 83-2011, Texas North Central 4202, as observed by GPS, and currently located on the west side of US 271, 1227 North Jefferson, north of West 12th Street, and take any next action as necessary.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Braddock has brought a plat of his property. He's currently in the position to sell a portion of it off. He wants to keep the commercial building, but he has some mini storage facility there. He's trying to split that property and keep the commercial side on his side. But doing that, we had to create because of the location of the buildings, we had to create a mutual access easement through here so that both parties could actually access back to the property, and future development could occur back there. Well, and also doing that, we basically wanted to make sure that the fire protection standpoint, that we would have a dedicated fire lane, so there wouldn't be any question about what needs to be protected back here. So along with that mutual access easement along this common property line, he split it sort of in the center and created a fire lane mutual access easement for the fire department to access these other buildings that are back there now, and potentially maybe some other structures that might get built will have adequate access for fire lane protection. So it basically just creates two lots, one that he's going to keep and one that he has the ability to sell and still have mutual access off of the street there. That's basically it. I think Mr. Braddock's here to answer any other questions you may have. But we've been working on this for 2-3 months now, trying to get this up to you guys and get it across the table. So that's what we finally got it here tonight. It meets all the zoning and subdivision requirements, and staff's good with this plat.
Okay, anybody got any questions for Mr. Braddock? No question? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the plat? Final
I'll
plat?
approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. All right, now we're going to the planning director's report.
Not much more that I need to do tonight to get you guys out of here, but like I said, we're moving. Just to give you an indication on the annexation area, we're moving forward, and it looks like we're getting finished up on the plans for the water, and we're going to try to put that out to bid within the next 2 weeks. So that's all looking good for the north end of town, and we should get some action up there with what you did tonight. You know, these plats and whatnot that's coming on. It's we're actually taking some steps to get things in the development process and moving forward. So just want to let you know that.
Okay, thank you, Robert. All right, a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.